my name is Nathan Settembrini, and this is Caroline Benoit. And Matt Fox was not able to join us. He's in Chicago for a pitch. But today we're talking about the evolution of a dashboard. And so it's a tough act to follow Steve Wexler. He gets to practice that one presentation a lot. I've given this presentation 0 times, so a little grace would be awesome. But yeah, so Caroline, I guess we'll just go through and do intros real quick. But so my name is Nathan Settembrini. You actually did a better job than the person who married me and my wife. They got it completely wrong. They said, now presenting Mr. and Mrs. Settembrini. Cool, I appreciate that. Yeah, so I went to Georgia Tech, studied electrical engineering, worked as an engineer for a few years, and then went back to Georgia Tech, did the MBA program full-time. It was amazing. Transitioned into a business analyst role at Equifax. I was doing analytics and reporting for the inside sales group. And then I quit the big corporate thing to go do startup world, ran a little startup right into the ground, and then now work as a consultant for the last 4 years, leading a data analytics practice that actually started within Cresa. So Matt Fox, who's not able to be here, he's also a Georgia Tech guy, worked at Disney and Showa, just about to finish up his analytics master's at Tech. He's been with us for just over a year. And then here's our little team. Caroline, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a student at Georgia Tech, about halfway through studying industrial engineering, so the same thing that Matt did. And I'm interning with them this summer. It's been really fun. So I just learned Tableau a couple months ago, but it's really fun. And I think they're really good at it. I don't know a ton, but I feel like I've learned a lot from them.
Yeah, Caroline has picked it up super fast. You can see a little example dashboard that she did for one of our biggest clients, and she did that in like a day with very little guidance, and so she's been crushing it, and we love having her. So you don't have to stand up the whole time. Cool. Yeah, so I picked up Tableau, I guess in 2016 is when I really started using it every day. So this is me and Matt at the Tableau conference. We quickly became fanboys. You can see us saluting the data fan nation. Went 2 years before that. Actually met, so this is Prince Joseph. He's not able to be here, but he was Matt's predecessor. Actually met him at ATUG, did not know him at all. We've become really good friends, brought him onto the Cresa team. He's amazing. He's now at NCR and is crushing it over there. Also have some other old ties to the ATUG group. So if you guys know Michael Lamont, he's at the City of Atlanta, or Atlanta Schools, Director of Analytics. He's presented here before. I was hoping he'd be here, but he's not. And probably my oldest friend in the room, Nelson Davis.
That's awesome.
This is on his wedding day. My wife and I sang at their wedding. And we go way back to the college days.
Am I right?
Yeah. Good time. So what are we talking about today? So really want to give you the business context for how we use Tableau at Cresa and how we help our clients by providing analytical services for them. I want to talk about kind of the iteration and evolution of our dashboards over the last 4 years. And if we have time, we could do a little hands-on. I wanted to kind of focus the hands-on on kind of the beginner side, just because I know a lot of times we get pretty deep into the weeds at these things, and people who've never seen Tableau are like, what in the world are we talking about? APIs and, XSOL and all this stuff. So if we have time, we'd love to do a little kind of dashboard building live on some of our data sets. So everyone knows this quote: what gets measured gets managed, right? So Peter Drucker, famous quote, that if you're not measuring something, or when you start to measure something, then it will be a managed thing. I recently heard this. I have no idea who said it. It might be an ancient Chinese proverb. It might be Andy Stanley. It might be no idea. But I thought about it and I said, okay, so what goes unmanaged becomes unmanageable. So if you think about like trimming your bushes, right? If you wait too long, it's like way harder than if you would have just trimmed them 6 months ago. But these two quotes are related, and this speaks to the value of the director quote and really the value of the work that we all in this room do. And so my context is within the Cresa Consulting Group. So Cresa is a commercial real estate firm, tenant rep only, so think CBRE, JLL. Do we have any real estate people in the room at one of my competitors? Cushman, Wakefield, JLL, CBRE? Oh, yes. Great. I have no interest in real estate whatsoever. I love helping my clients solve problems, and because I work in a real estate context, we get to work with a lot of different really cool clients, and I'll tell you about some of them in a second. But we have a whole team of people. We're relatively small, about 25 people, supporting an organization that's global with about 1,000 real estate brokers around the world. And I started in this location strategy bucket and created this technology and business intelligence bucket. And last year we made a video to kind of explain what we do. So I'll just let me on the video explain it. So here we go. Voice might sound familiar. To get a clear picture of your business, you need clear business intelligence capabilities. Yet many businesses spend millions of dollars on this each year and still fail to properly analyze their global workplace. Most corporate real estate teams have a wide array of software solutions to help manage their lease portfolio, allocate space, and track projects. But teams often spend more time generating manual reports than actually making decisions. Cresa has helped hundreds of clients wrangle data from their existing systems into customized analytical tools that turn data into knowledge and knowledge into better decisions. First, we create a centralized data warehouse, blending each source of information into a consolidated source of truth. Then we quickly stand up interactive dashboards that help you understand key portfolio metrics at a glance and drill down into specific locations. Stay ahead of key dates to proactively manage the portfolio. Benchmark rental rates against the market. Track occupancy and space utilization to identify cost savings. Capture historical snapshots to show trends. Manage a global expansion and optimize your logistics network. Stay on top of operating expenses and quantify the impact of a relocation on your employees. If you're ready to take the next step, reach out to Cresa Consulting, and together we will turn your data into knowledge and knowledge into better decisions. I'm surprised that video's aged fairly well, because we've made a lot of upgrades to the dashboards and things over the past couple of years, and you'll see. But yeah, so our clients are commercial real estate and workplace teams within large portfolio companies. So if you think about a Coca-Cola, they're not our client, they're JLL's client, but they have hundreds, thousands of locations all over the world. They have a whole team that sits within Coke that is responsible for managing the data, creating visualizations. And so we basically do that as a service for all of our clients. And so we like to show this slide just because it gives them a sense of, here's all the sources of information that I have today. It's kind of a pain to get the data out. I'm drowning in spreadsheets. My life is terrible. And so we take that part of it, we take the data out of the systems, blend it together, and present it into dashboards. And we do that for lots of clients. And so you can see that same concept here. You know, client A, client B, client C, each one has their own unique set of data sources. And so we create basically extraction, transformation, load kind of situations using Alteryx. We blend the data together and we publish it to Tableau. So right now we're on Tableau Online. which has worked really great, and we've actually helped other clients get stood up on Tableau Online internally, and even transition some of the dashboards that we've built into like behind their firewall. And then within Tableau Online, we have everything organized into projects, where every project is a client, and we create groups. So if you're familiar, does anyone who's a server admin or has access to be able to create groups and user permissions and publish dashboards? Okay, cool. So we just do a one-to-one relationship between groups and projects. So client A group, you put the people in there. Client A group has access to everything in client A project. Keeps it nice and clean and simple. Obviously, admins have visibility to lots of projects. But yeah, so that's our model. So we're basically providing analytics as a service to portfolio clients to give them information about their real estate portfolio in their global workplace. We've productized this over the past couple of years. So this is our current state product suite. It's a freemium model. So we have Essentials on the left, which I recently heard Salesforce or somebody created an Essentials product. I was like, man. And then, yeah, obviously none of this is new, so we could have done gold, silver, bronze, whatever. But Essentials is just a nice moniker for, here's some of the basics, it's free to you, it's pretty light. Pro is kind of the starting place for most of our clients, and then Custom is exactly what it sounds like. It's once you're further along in your analytical journey and you want to start creating dashboards outside of this 6 dashboard suite that we've created, then you'll pay more. So, any questions or anything on that? So that's our context. The question is really, how do we get here? So this has been a journey since 2016. And so, we titled this The Evolution of Dashboard, or of a Dashboard, obviously after the evolution of dance.
Evolution of dance.
You've all seen this, 300 million of us have seen this movie too. Yeah, and who knows how many people saw it on E-Bombs World before that? Raise your hand if you were an E-Bombs World person. No, okay, 12 of us. Sweet. Cool. So kind of talking to, I think this is a really great, it's really great that Steve's presentation kind of queued up a lot of the stuff that we've been doing, and it's kind of a practical application for some of these things that he recommended. You'll see we were doing a lot of stuff that he was saying not to do, but here's something that we've done right, I think. It's kind of understanding, first of all, who is our user. And so getting in the shoes of real estate and workplace teams, understanding what they need to do to get their job done correctly, what sort of analysis are they doing today, what are their pain points. And then understand for this dashboard, so we're going to talk about one dashboard, the portfolio dashboard. It's kind of our home page of sorts. And over the last 4 years, we've created hundreds of dashboards for tons of clients. But we're just going to really focus on the portfolio dashboard because it's kind of the cornerstone of the whole thing. And so what is that dashboard's objective? And it's kind of an executive summary page of the portfolio to understand geography, some of the key metrics like how much space do I have, how many people do I have, what's the cost, and then also looking at when did those leases expire so I know when I can take action. So to get to those objectives, what are the data sources that underlie that? And so lease administration systems track all the different leases that a client may have. Space management has digital floor plans, and it's where people sit. And then the HR system typically feeds the space management system to you seat people into desks and then you can move them around. And so then the next question is, how will users interact with this data? What kind of questions are they looking for? And so when you look at Tableau Public, a lot of times what you see are almost like little media pieces that are designed for like a one point in time analysis. It's not being fed live with some data. But in our context, most of the dashboards we're building are really supposed to be operational dashboard, analytical tools in the hands of users to give them some sort of information in an ongoing basis, right? And so those two types of dashboards, kind of a point-in-time analysis, almost like a PowerPoint deck, versus what we're trying to create is, you kind of have to bifurcate that and say, okay, well, if I'm going to create this sustainable tool, what kind of questions is the user going to ask over time, right? And so in this case, they want to be able to look at specific business units, they want to drill down on geographies, and they also want to look out over a specific time horizon. So that's the portfolio dashboard. So let's talk about the evolution. So similar to the first couple dance moves in the evolution of dance video, pretty embarrassing early beginnings, right? So if you go back and think about old stuff that you've done, it's like, your early stuff may be perfect. My early stuff was not great. So here we go. So 2016, this is version 1, and we'll do a bigger version here in a second, and we'll really kind of dissect it. But you can see already that it's tall and skinny, and so the user is going to have to scroll down. We tried to cram a whole lot of detail, a whole lot of crap onto one screen. Good starting point. And so I took the Tableau intermediate class, the advanced class, and then went nuts. Did a whole lot of Googling. So if you're new to this, like literally the Tableau community is such a giving and like prolific community that if there's a question that you have, someone else, thousands of people have had it before, just Google, and there will be at least 3 or 4 blog articles that are like, here's exactly how you solve this. Every now and then you'll come across an idea that everyone's like, yeah, we've been asking for that for a while. Yeah, so then in 2017, I was like, okay, this needs to be simpler, more of like a PowerPoint slide. How do I make it, a little bit more executive summary-esque? I actually stole, so the big A numbers, the bands concept, actually this dashboard looks very strikingly similar to the Tableau demo that is baked into Tableau when you open it. Strikingly similar. So I stole that whole top left corner. Good times. So their dashboard hasn't changed. Ours has. I'm surprised that they haven't added more demos, but here we go. So 2018, we kind of got back to, so the downside of 17 was we lost a lot of the detail. And so we had to actually have 2 dashboards now. And so we really had a V2 dashboard that was the cover page, and then the second page was basically just view. So we're like, And what we found out is, okay, that's not great because the questions that they're trying to answer are bigger than what we're providing in this V2 version. And so we kind of brought it all back together into V3. Still too much granularity going on. And then in V4, this one is actually inspired by this past year's Tableau conference. Matt and I went, and we came back and just like, okay, it's time to clean this baby up and use some of the stuff that we've learned. So, and also Cresa went through a rebrand, and so we now have this beautiful PowerPoint slide deck that we can emulate in the dashboard. And so for our demos, that's basically what we created. So let's talk about some other elements of this progression. Did anything change? Oh, there we go. Yeah. So what about the data side? So I've shown you some of the visuals, and we'll dive deeper in a second, but what about the data side? So early on, like a lot of us, we were just connecting directly to Excel files. And so to refresh a dashboard, which we do on a monthly basis for most of our clients, we have to go pull the data, do some VLOOKUPs and all kinds of silly stuff like that, and then reconnect the dashboard to a new Excel file and republish the thing, which that works fine when you have 2 or 3 clients on 2 or 3 data sources. But my vision for this thing was I wanted to have 20 clients. What does this look like when we have 100 clients using this? How do we just press a button and have it just do it all for us, right? And then also, how do we speed up the process to stand up a new client? And so we started to think about how do we productize this. And so we bought Alteryx in 17. which was a game changer. We still hadn't really figured out, like we had to learn Alteryx from the ground up. So Prince, who I mentioned, I said, hey, just go learn this and then teach me some stuff. And so he picked it up. I saw what he did. We both collaborated. We made it better. And we've been using it ever since. And actually, last year we signed a 3-year agreement with them. So powerful tool. And then one of our clients they said, hey, we have badge reader data. So, every time you tap your card to get into your office, that's basically granting you access into the office. It's also a way to track attendance to the office, because if you say there's 100 people assigned to this location, how many people are actually coming in? I don't know, but we can use badge data to get a sense for that attendance number. And so those badge records, if you think about a 75 location client with thousands of taps per day, times 75 locations, like we're in the millions of records, and so we were like, we need some kind of a cloud-based cloud database. Went with Amazon Redshift. We started dabbling with the Tableau. It was TDEs back in 17, and then they released Hyper in 18, and so we started dabbling there. And then 19, Hyper has been our go-to. That when we process the data in Alteryx and we publish a Hyper extract directly to Tableau Online, so we don't have to touch the dashboards at all anymore, which is awesome. And then if you think about the business model, so how has that changed over time? We kind of, I don't know if I came up with this first or Elon Musk did, but we kind of did like the Tesla Roadster first, where it's like the very large, very expensive, fixed fee projects. And then in 17, we started to standardize and productize, and so the cost went down. 18, we came up with a subscription model where we were charging per month, because we really got a handle on, okay, here's the data sources that our clients have, and here's about how much work it's going to take to get them stood up. And so we can bundle that into a subscription price and charge it over time. Clients love that, because now they're not paying tens of thousands of dollars up front, it's just a few $1,000s a month. And then now in 19, we recently launched that Freemium Essentials, which is free to our clients. And so we're trying to cover the full spectrum of everybody from a small mom and pop shop with 5 to 10 locations, all the way up to the Cokes and Pepsis of the world. So there's that. So over time, so as our dashboards have gotten better, our data processing has gotten better, our business model has evolved. We've seen substantial growth over time. And so this is the top chart, and give me a little grace here, guys. This I created in Tableau Online, the new admin analytics. Has anyone played with that? It's kind of cool. But the online interface, you don't have a lot of control yet. But so new users at the top. So this is internal users are blue, client users are yellow. You can see over the years they've increased, and we're kind of starting to get a little bit of exponential growth. Our clients are actually people you've heard of. Lots of like freelablogs.com or something like that. I was actually watching a Tableau about this time. I was watching a Tableau sanctioned webinar, and they were talking about mapping, and they literally pulled up like geocoder.net or something, and they said, here's what you should use to geocode if you actually need it at the address level. I was like, wow, okay. Nowadays we run, we'll still use those websites sometimes for real quick hits, but we have this drive time analysis tool that uses the Google Maps API, automatically geocodes, automatically calculates the driving distance, walking distance, biking distance, etc. Yeah, so there's some interactivity here, which I was able to do by hitting this little handy dandy filter icon, which is still a useful thing, unless you want to kind of customize which things get filtered by, from this viz, filter this other viz, but not the other way around. So there's lots of filtering options. You can see we did use a highlight table here. The color, so we're dual encoding these numbers. Or like a lot of these visits, so for example, we're dual coding on this map, where the size of the bubble is the metric, and the color of the bubble is the metric. Not necessarily the worst thing to do, but maybe there's a better use of one of those dimensions, right? And so then down here, all right, so let's just talk through each one of these visits. So the tree map tells me how much space do I have by region. That's useful. The city shows me where my locations are by city, but some of the cities aren't shown. That's a problem. This lease expiration table shows me when these leases expire. It's sorted from high to low, so the largest locations are listed first. That's useful. And the biggest locations are highlighted in red, the smaller ones are green. Not sure that the green is useful. And then we scroll down here, this line chart is basically this table chart aggregated up by year. But I don't have it as an actual year, so I can't drill down to a quarter. That's a problem. But I can select a couple of these years and filter everything down and see it. This chart is actually one of the cooler ones that we've done, or at least useful. So scatter plots can be useful in identifying outliers. And so we have these two dimensions, the cost of the space on the y-axis, and the usage of the space, the square foot per employee, across the x-axis. And so we also have the average shown using a reference line. And so anybody up in this upper right-hand quadrant is bad in both directions. These locations are underutilized space. These ones are expensive. So it really does help a real estate manager who's never seen their portfolio visualized in this way to identify, okay, well, where's my lowest hanging fruit if I want to try to take some action to save some money or increase the space utilization. And then you'll see we're beholden to this detail table for the next 3 versions because my boss, every time he's in a pitch, he says, and we always put the detail table on the bottom. Because he's talking to the guy with the, that we saw with the big stogie in his mouth. Because a lot of times that's what people are used to. They want to see it, and I mean, even we all want to see it if we're honest with ourselves, right? If we're trying to inspect the data, and so if you were to take Tableau away from you and just give you the dashboard through Tableau Online as a product, you'd probably want the ability to drill down to the row level to do some inspection. So, I mean, I get it, but always showing all those marks, it slows down dashboard performance, and it just kind of clutters everything up. So that's version 1. You can see we've got a whole bunch of other dashboards and things touch this. Let's go to version 2. There it is. Cool. So, like I said, straight rip off from the Tableau demo in the upper left-hand quadrant. So we're still giving the user the ability to see all their key metrics. Actually, this is the first time we introduced the bands, which I thought was super cool. We're still allowing the user to see their locations geographically. We've now geocoded these locations by lat long to the address level, but we're aggregating it up to the city level, I believe. And then we've got leased versus owned property in a bar chart so they can quickly see where their largest locations are. By leased versus owned. And then if they want to filter by division, they can click around and see that. But what this doesn't tell them anything about is the expirations of these locations. And so in the next version, we bring some of that detail back in. Any questions on any of these so far? Do we want to dig into anything? It's all pretty straightforward. Let's just take a look at this bands table. So there's a bunch of different ways you can do this. If there's at least 2 of them, I usually do it this way, just because I don't want to have one sheet per band. But basically, all this is using measure names and values and formatting the value to be a large number and then getting rid of all the the table edges and formatting, so that it's just kind of a nice centered. You change the font, change the colors, and super useful. If you want to be able to I would say if you're interested in bands, go search for. There's this one massive blog article about 35 ways to do bands even with trending in the background and stuff. Super cool. We're not there yet in 2017. So let's move on to 2018. Oh, and by the way, we've moved from Tableau 9 to Tableau 10, and I believe this is now 2018.1. And we moved into this kind of widescreen format. So what we found was when you think about putting your users first, one of the big questions is what kind of devices are the users consuming this on? And so if you show up to their office, or if you walk around your office and you go to your boss's desk and they've got a screen that's this big, those little old flat screens, and that's what they're looking at it on, maybe your dashboard should be formatted like that. But most of my clients, they're looking at it on laptops, and so this kind of the default, what is this view called? Generic desktop, super helpful. Thank you, Tableau, for that. So you can see we've got the bands across the top. Kind of minimize the branding to maximize all this detail and gobbledygook around the edges, but you can quickly filter across the things that they care about. You can break it out by quarter, you can see the row level detail, and even some of the key metrics at the row level, which is nice. But yeah, so this was an improvement, but we still have a little bit of ways to go. And then finally, the more recent version. So you can see lots more contrast in terms of the colors. So rather than color everywhere or multiple color schemes per dashboard, we're trying to stick to a consistent theme. We're also using the client's colors. In this case, it's our colors, but when we build client dashboards, we use their color scheme. And so, you can see here, we did not accept the defaults in a lot of these cases, so changing the fonts, changing the colors. You can see I guess the first thing you notice is, where's the detail table, right? It's actually hidden, and there's 2 detail tables that are hidden, because it's really designed to be interacted with. So actually, let me go to the Tableau 9 version of this. I have it linked this one. Cool. Alright, so this is our Tableau Online. And the nice thing is, when you're presenting, you can resize it to fit the screen. So this is our portfolio dashboard. This is the current demo. We've also simplified, so just from a high level, what we used to have is this one massive demo with 20 data sources, 30 tabs going across the top. And we simplified it into, here's Pro, which are the 6 dashboards here. And then if you want to go explore custom dashboards, we've got this little tile thing where you can say, all right, I want to learn more about workplace intelligence. Take me there. And so you click that, and it pops open a utilization study dashboard. And so, super cool stuff. I think we still have a ways to go. We could get better and create dashboards that are more customized to serve people's needs, but this seems to be hitting the mark at the moment. Which, I mean, if you asked me that in 2016, I probably would have said the same thing. So, take a look at the portfolio in APAC. We've got 20 locations. So I mentioned the detail table. So we've got two detail tables. One, if I want to see the expirations, by city that are occurring in these years, I can select those years and it'll bring me that same little highlight table that we've had since version 1. The other detail table, revert, is if we want to, let's select a couple locations. Oh, our locations in India. I didn't realize we had 3. What are they? I can click the detail, and the same little detail table pops up across the bottom. And we can click it again to make it go away. I'm not sold that the top 5, bottom 5 is super useful in production because most people know what their biggest locations are, but it at least demos well. So. Cool. So, how are we doing on time? What time should I stop? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, is there anything in here that you've seen that you want to understand how to do it? Or should I just go through a couple simple things for new users to understand?
Can I ask you a question about?
Yeah, go ahead.
How did you manage expectations or manage pushback, if there was any, about changing a dashboard that somebody was used to seeing, and then totally changing its content and layout?
So that's actually a very insightful question, and we're dealing with that right now. So Caroline, one of her projects this summer was to take all of our clients who are on one of these versions. I don't think we had anybody on version 1, right? But so we had a couple of clients on version 2 still, where it's that they've gotten used to this dashboard and they're seeing it in a certain way, and now we want to kind of bring everybody up to current speed. And those conversations have been going pretty well. What would you say?
Yeah, so it's just been like, I'll go ahead and upgrade them from the top to the base.
Yeah.
Kind of show them what we want to upgrade, and this is what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're basically taking the initiative to go ahead and upgrade them, but do it in parallel. So we're not going to overwrite their original dashboard. We're going to create the new dashboard, and now they have both that they can access. And if they find that they can get everything they need in the new one, then we can deprecate the old one. But I think it just varies client by client basis. Some clients are always asking for what's next. Actually, that's the reason why I was at Twitter. It's like we had this 60-slide deck on here's how you can take your stuff to the next level. And then I have other clients that are like, we're perfectly happy with what we have, and I'm so busy I can't even think about this. So it's totally varies. Yeah, there was a question in the back.
Oh yeah, that was me. So one thing that I really liked was our bands. I don't understand how you create them and make them look clean. Okay. And then the other item that I found really interesting was in the final or current version of your dashboard, how you toggle between a detail table and then just the interactive dashboard. That's something that I'd like to learn.
Okay, those are actually 2 of the things that I wanted to show in the interactive portion, so we'll do that. So I'm going to open up a fresh Tableau. Alright, so if you didn't hear the question was, how do we do bands, and how do we do the showing, hiding trick? Alright, so we're going to connect to Microsoft Excel, because that's what we got for our demo. Let's just take a quick look at this data. So if you've has anyone not opened Tableau ever before and they're just here kind of looking at it and explaining, like just curious? Okay. Yeah, so when you open up Tableau, it's like opening up a new Microsoft Excel workbook. It's a blank slate, right? You have to connect to data first. And so what I just did was I just said, hey, I want to connect to Microsoft Excel. And you can see that's the first option because it's most likely what people are using. As you get more opportunities to connect to other data sources, these other items may be useful. So I mentioned we connect to Amazon Redshift. There's a connector there. If you want to connect over to Salesforce, you can. Lots of cool stuff. So right now we're connected live to a spreadsheet. Tableau has already gone through and looked at all of my fields, and it's determined, well, this is a latitude and longitude. I see that it's a number, a decimal, and I've also interpreted that to mean that it's a geographic latitude and longitude. That's what the little world there means. And so numbers, green numbers, measures, and then blue is dimensions. The ABC means it's a string of some sort. There's also date filters. So the little icons are there to kind of, so if you were to, at a glance, you were to look at a number, like monthly grant, if this said ABC, I'd be like, what's up with that? There must be something in my data that's causing Tableau to think that. I also need to have Tableau render that as a number. So if we go to sheet 1, so we can see here are all of our dimensions in the upper left-hand corner. Tableau has also automatically, or some would say automatically, created a hierarchy, a geography hierarchy for me. That's very nice. And actually, if I just double-click on country, it'll create a map for me using those automatically generated lats and longs. That's cool. You can see here all my different measures. So I have annual rent, head count and capacity, says workstations and people. The market rent for each location. So every row in the data, this is always important. When you get a new data set, or you connect to a new data source, what is a row? What is my grain, right? So am I looking at a month, or am I looking at in this case, a lease, right? So every row is a lease. And then there's some hierarchy above that, right? So every lease actually rolls up into a building, because buildings can have multiple leases. Every building rolls up into maybe a city or a location name. So there's kind of a hierarchy